All right, welcome back, guys. I'm going to do a video of stripping that door down to bare metal, and we'll re-body work it and get it ready for primer. I'm going to do it outside. I'm going to use the old mud buster. This one does not hook up to the vacuum system. I put a new piece of 40 grit on here, so we'll see how quick we can get this down to bare metal. We'll go outside and get it set up. All right, let's see how quick we can grind this down. All right, I'm gonna pause it and keep doing this, and then I'll be back. I don't know, I didn't do all this body work on the panel. I don't know who put all this mud on there. I don't really know why they did, because it feels so pretty smooth so far. So I'm gonna stop this for a couple minutes and keep grinding away. Probably gonna take about 20 minutes or so, maybe a half an hour. There's a decent amount of Bondo in this door. I don't know why, because I'm feeling it, and I only feel a little bit of dips. I don't know what their reasoning was for putting so much on there, but we're gonna get it all off and we'll assess it once we get it off. All right, I got the door all stripped down to bare metal. There was a lot of filler, especially on this side. This side doesn't feel too bad at all. Maybe a little dip right there. Over here, looks like somebody used a stud gun and a hammer and popped out a huge dent over here. by feeling it. I don't really know if there's much more I can do with it. They kind of really stretched and wrinkled the metal. We're probably just gonna have to refill this back in the way it was. But I got everything off the door. There's no more old paint or bodywork or anything on it. So we can start with some fresh filler and everything, and we shouldn't have any more issues with this door. I'm gonna let it warm back up and then we will start bodyworking it. All right, I'm back. I let the door warm up so that it's not cold from being outside. We're gonna mix up some Bondo here, and we're gonna hit the areas that are the deepest, most dented areas. So just mix up a little Bondo here. We're gonna use this stuff rather than the lightweight. This is a little bit thicker of a filler. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hit the real low spots first. I don't think I'm gonna have to skim coat the whole door like they had it. I mean, there was areas they had almost a 1/4 inch thick. Don't forget to knead your hardener so you don't have any separation. And just make sure you fold the Bondo over rather than stirring it. Get less air bubbles that way. Keep stirring it until it's completely the same color consistency throughout, blue. Because if you notice, sometimes when I turn it here, you can see the streaking still where it's not fully mixed. Just keep going over it until it's fully mixed. All right, I'm gonna hit these heavy areas where they had already used the stud gun to pop out this dent over here. Just mixing it, I saw a couple more spots that weren't fully mixed. So all I want to do is just kind of fill in where it's low. We're not going to go crazy on this coat. We're just trying to even it out. I'm not worried about that hole. I'll drill it out later. We're just trying to get a shape back to it. Nothing crazy. And as we get towards the end, start pushing on an angle to kind of thin it out to the metal. All right, we'll leave that there. Maybe a little bit right here we need to mix up. A little bit right here. But I don't know why they had so much on here. There's no reason for it. Because it just really doesn't feel bad. We'll put a little bit here and a little bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up a little bit more. All right, let's put a coat on these couple other areas here that I felt. Like I said, they're not too bad at all. I wanted to put a coat of Duraglass on the trunk seams, but I don't have any more, so we'll have to get some more. I like to use the Duraglass for the first coat because if there's any pinholes in my welding or anything and any moisture gets through there, it holds up a lot better than regular filler. So it's always good, in my opinion, over your welds to use a fiberglass filler. You can use Duraglass, I think Bondo makes a version. Every manufacturer has their own version of it. I felt a little spot right here, right there. And we're gonna get this bodywork real close, you know, and we'll primer it and then we'll block sand it and we'll see exactly how it looks. I mean, they had all this just filled with Bondo. And I just don't know why. The only thing I could think of is maybe somebody originally had coated a bunch of it, because you could definitely tell there was a couple different layers and the coloring was different from being mixed, you know, at different times. So maybe the last paint job, they were just trying to feather out areas that somebody else had done rather than stripping it down to bare metal. But I only saw one paint job on there, so I just don't know. I don't know what their thinking was. But I think we're all right with that coat. And this will take a little bit to set up. Let it dry nice and hard. And I'm just going to use the mud buster for the first sanding, and then we can put another coat on and get to block sanding it. All right, we're gonna let that dry for a while. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Bondo's dried up. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit this first coat down really fast with some 80 grit with this 8-inch VA. right, we got it knocked down pretty good here. These are the low spots. So these spots, that I gotta drill that out, but these are all low spots still. Metal just started peaking up right here, so I don't want to sand anymore. I'm gonna put an Autobody over top, spread it out a little bit wider. Might tap that down a little bit right there, but other than that, it's pretty good. This right here, I'm gonna sand that by hand. So let me get an Autobody on here. We'll let it start drying. I also picked up some Duraglass so we can put a coat on the seams of the trunk. I'm gonna drill out this molding hole real quick before I put an Autobody on. It's just a 3/8 drill bit. Okay, this coat's gonna go on a little bit thinner than the last coat, and I'm gonna spread it out a little bit farther than the last coat. So I'm gonna kind of go over farther than where the last coat was. Just wanna make sure it's all mixed up good. This might look like a lot of filler, but it's really not. It's pretty thin. Try to spread it out as even as you can. Try not to leave any big pinholes or anything. Oh. Sometimes you'll get a little chunk in there. All right, I'm gonna mix up a little bit more. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna mix up a little bit more for here, for this corner here. Okay, now on this Duraglass filler, make sure you mix it real good, because when you first get it, it's gonna have a bunch of liquid on the top surface. And what we're doing is we're gonna mix up a batch of this, and we're gonna put it over the seams on the trunk floor. Just a real thin layer. So all I'm doing is filling in. If there's any pinholes in the welds or anything like that, I just want to fill them in. So let me get some of this mixed up. It mixes up just like Bondo, except for with red hardener. All right, mixing this stuff up, and we'll get it on these seams that we welded in. And then after this, it just needs one coat of some filler, and then it'll be ready for primer. I'm not going to primer this trunk pan until I get the other ones done, because I want to primer the quarter panels and everything all at the same time. This turns like a brownish color when it's mixed. We don't want to put a ton of it on, so all we're doing is filling in everywhere the welds are. This stuff is pretty hard to sand, so you want to try to put it on pretty smooth and don't clump it up where you don't want it. It's always good to clean out your grooves, so you don't have to sit there and sand them for a long time. I'm actually going to put some in here and then seam seal over top of it. Just give it some extra protection. I might have to mix up a little more. Might have enough. This seam I'm not as worried about because it's overlapping where they made that factory overlap. All right, that looks pretty good. We got everything I wanted coated. Actually, a little bit on the side here. There we go. We'll let that dry. This stuff takes a while to dry. It seems to be sticky for a while. So I'm letting that dry. I'm letting the door dry, and I'll be back. All right, this coat's dry. On this one, I'm gonna knock it down with the big sander for a little bit until I get it pretty low, and then I'll finish it up with a block sander. before I use the air file board, the little one, there's a little low spot here. I'm just gonna get a little bit of icing and just fill that spot in. Okay, there was 2 spots I didn't like, right here and up there. So I'm gonna hit them with the big sander real quick, and then we'll move on to the smaller one. Now we're going to switch over to this little sander, and we're going to hit it with some 80 grit real quick again. I found one more low spot, a little spot, right here. So I'm gonna mix a little bit more of the icing and we're gonna hit there. And this is a little high right here. I'm gonna dimple that down just a little bit. We'll fill in these two spots and then we're gonna go over it with 180 grit and then a quick 320 and it'll be ready for primer. Okay, so just take your body hammer with your pointed end and you just wanna lightly tap that down. Just a tiny bit, just so it's down below the surface. And just go ahead and fill over it. Okay, we'll let that dry. We'll go over it with the 80 grit, and then we're gonna go over the whole panel with 180, and then real lightly with 320. All right, I'm gonna sand this with 80. All right, I have switched to 180 grit. Gonna hit it real quick with the DA sander with some 320. Just to blend out any of the edges and stuff. Alright, I think it feels really good. Nice and smooth. Tomorrow we'll primer this with some other parts. These lower valances have a few dings in them. I'm gonna get those fixed tomorrow so I can spot primer those. I'm not gonna primer the whole thing. The for the spare tire, the wheel, all that stuff. I want to just sand down with some 80 grit with the DA and primer that stuff tomorrow. And we'll probably work on those wheel skirts tomorrow. I have to get more gas for my welder. I ran out finishing up the trunk floor. So tomorrow I'm hoping to have a bunch of parts ready for primer, and we'll get them in the spray booth and we'll get the first primering done on them. The wheel housing and stuff like that and the valances should only need one primering. This door is going to need to be done twice. Other than that, that's about it. I'm just going to clean up the holes, the couple holes that the Bondo dripped through, and that'll be it for this video. And tomorrow we will do some more body work. We'll fix the edges of the on the wheel skirts, and we'll get those body work, and we'll get some stuff primered. All right, guys, have a good night.